go ahead and work on start with project number 11. So I upload the files for project 11 and 12. Actually, there is my number, project number 12, so you should have that print. We're going to start with project number 11. So on project number 11, we have there are arcs right there. Actually, two arcs, radius. If you look at here, radius 1.125 arc. So this arc you see is, you look in the construction plane, right? So we have that arc one over here, radius 1.125, and we have another arc here. So we have two arcs. And then we're going to draw a line at an angle 60 degrees on construction plane top, and we're going to create a plane normal to this line right here, this line. We're going to create a plane normal to that line, and once we're going to create a plane, then we're going to create two arcs, radius 750, one arc here, one arc there, and this is the radius of the arc. If you look at this, arc goes right there. So all right, so let's go ahead. We can have this as an origin, and at origin we're going to create a 1/2 inch circle, which is going to be a through hole, and then radius 400, which is diameter 800. There's another circle, and that circle is going to be draft. So those two arcs is going to be at Z 1.7 in the construction plane top. So those arcs are going to be right here. And then when we're going to do this radius 400 circle, and we're going to make a draft surface on that, and this is the draft angle 20 degrees, 0.20.02. So let's go ahead, start with the construction plane top, and I'm going to create this. So let me turn this first, my recording on.
Recording in progress.
All right, guys, so we'll start with the origin, drawing these two circles right here. We're going to do this 1/2 inch hole and radius 400,000, which is 800 circle. But my Z is going to be, look at it, that's my Z 1.7 over here. So we're going to go construction plane top at origin. We're going to change our Z to 1.7 in construction plane top and create those two circles right here, 1/2 inch and 400 radius. So we are in construction plane top, and I'm going to change my Z to 1.7. And that Z 1.7 is right here. This is, and you look at the right side view, you can tell that your Z is 1.7 for these two are. So I'm going to go to construction plane top, and here I'm going to create a wireframe. I'm going to create a circle. The first circle is going to be right here, radius 0.400. Hit OK, and the other circle is radius 250. Hit OK. Hit OK. I'm going to go ahead and change the color on that. Go to green color. And the system color or wireframe color, I'm going to make it green also. So if you look at here, guys, I have created those two circles at Z positive 1.7. Right there. So I have created these two at the origin. Now from here, Z minus 1.7, I can create this arc here, which is your radius 1.125. If you look at here, that's your radius 1.125 at Z minus 1.7. From the origin, I'm going to go in the construction plane right and create this arc here and this arc right there, and they both have radius 1.125. So let's go Z minus 1.7 in construction plane right. So go to construction plane right and change this Z, and that Z was how much? 1.7, Z minus. So Z, put here minus 1.7 in construction plane right, and I can go to right plane back over there. So go arc polar, that's my center point, and I can go from there to there, and that radius is 1 point. That radius is right here, 1.125. So put a radius 1.125, and my starting angle is 0, ending angle is 180 degrees. There you go. So if you look at the top view, we got those two arcs, we got this arc here, and this is what you see on the blueprint right here. Look at this. We got these circles and we got this here. Now we're going to create this arc over here. This arc, and we're going to move Z over here. 8 minus 1.7. That's going to be my Z. That's going to be my Z. So 8 minus 1.7, that is going to be 6.3. Z positive from here. That distance is going to be positive 6.38 inches minus 1.7. Z positive 6.3 is going to give you, that's where I'm going to create my arc in the construction plane. Right. So go to construction plane right. We are still in construction plane right, and I can just go ahead and call my construction plane right. And here is my Z positive 6.3. is my Z right here. Oh, it's 1.7, 6.3 Z. Okay, that's good. And I'm going to create this arc with radius 1.25. So Z is positive 6.3. Go to construction plane right, create arc polar, same center point. I can go from there to there. Radius is going to be 1.125. Start angle is 0 and angle is 180. There you go. Okay. Look at the top view. That's what we got. And look at this drawing here. This is what we have over here. All right. Okay. Now we're going to draw this line here at Z0 on construction plane top, and that point is going to be from here to here. We had 6.3 minus 1.3. It's going to be 5 inches. So that distance is from here to here is 5 inches. X is 5 inches. So let's create a line in the top plane at Z0, this line right here at 60 degrees. So we're going to start here at X6, Y0. That's going to be the start point of that line right here. So go to construction plane top. We are in top plane. Z is going to be 0. Please change your Z to 0, guys, here. We are in construction plane top. So create a line endpoint. It's going to ask you to specify the first endpoint right here. Endpoint type here x6 comma 0. That's my start point of the arc. Start point of the line. 6 or 5? I'm sorry, it should be 5 inches. Why did I put 6? 5 inches. Specify the first endpoint. That is going to be 5 comma 0. That makes sense. And it's going to be right here. The length of the line is, I think it's 7 inches, I guess. Yeah, it's 7 inches, and angle is 60 degrees right there. So length is 7. Angle is 180 plus 60 is going to be 240. That's my line right there. This line right there, if you guys see it, that's the line. 7 inches long line. All right. And okay. Now there are 2 arcs. If you look at the blueprint, radius 750 arc. This is one right there. There's another arc back right there. And this is something we did in, I think, project number 4 or 5. So same thing. We're going to create a plane normal to this line, and we're going to create an arc radius 750 and 750. So let's do that. Let's create a plane. Create a plane. Let's go to plane. And there you go, plane from entity normal. select a normal entity. This is my normal entity. So make sure you're going to apply the right hand rule. So I'm going to look for the next one because this is not what I'm looking for. I have to have my X positive to the right, Y first finger up, and Z towards you. So this is not good either. This is good right there. This is your right hand rule. Your thumb to the right, X plus, Y first finger going up, Y plus, Z towards you, Z plus. That's good. And I can name that 60-degree plane. There you go. Okay. So now I can go to plane 60 degrees. So go to construction plane, go to name and 60-degree plane. There we are, it's 60-degree plane. And that is my C0 right there right now. So I can create an arc. And if you look at the radius is R750 over here. So we're going to create one arc over here, radius 750. This is the radius, guys, for that arc. You can create another arc here, radius 750. All right, so go to arc polar. And my center point is going to be right there, and end point of that line. And I can start my arc from there to there. And the radius is 750. Starting angle is 0. And ending angle is 180 degrees. There you go. 0, 180, hit OK. I'm still in the same command, arc polar, but I have to move my Z to this line over here. Endpoint of this line. Let me turn the axis off so I can see that line is right here. So click on your Z, the letter Z, not on 0, 0, letter Z. It's going to ask you, select point for new construction depth, select this endpoint right there, and that will be Z positive 7 inches. And I'm going to create an arc right there. We are still in the arc mode. Enter the center point. This is going to be my center point. I'm going to start from there to here. And radius is 0.750. Start point is 0 and is 180. Okay. Looking at the top view, this is what we have. This is exactly what you see over here. We don't have to join these lines here, guys. This is going to be a surface, so we're going to create a surface, but we don't have to join the lines. So let's create a surface. There we go. I can go back to my construction plane top, Z0, I can put it back to 0. And I can Alt F1. Okay, fit to screen. Okay, let's go to create surfaces here. Surface, we can go to loft and we can put chain or single, doesn't matter. Contour 2, chain 2 is right here. Apply, hit OK. hit OK, and the second one is going to change this guy right there. 1, 2, hit OK, and OK. All right, that's good. And I can go ahead and trim these two with our trim function. Trim to surfaces. Same thing, select the first set, pick this guy here. Second set, pick this guy over here. Trim to surfaces. It says select first set of surface and press enter. Select, hit enter. Second set, hit enter. Indicate the area I want to trim this and keep this, and I want to trim this and I want to keep this. There you go. Hit OK. Now here, I have to create a surface right here. If you look at this blueprint, look at this part right here, guys. We have a surface coming with radius 400 circle, and right underneath you see in hidden lines right here, it's a surface in a cone shape, and the draft angle is 20.02 degrees. So first we can create a surface on that, and this is how this works. Let me show you that. So we're going in doing the draft surface. Make sure your construction plane has to be top. That's very important, because you're going to draft in the top surface, not in the side, not in the front, but on the top surface. So we are in construction plane top. So here comes my draft surface, and I want to draft with this here, which is 400 radius, diameter 800, and hit end chain and OK. And I want to draft that in opposite side, and that length over running length is going to be, if you look at this, the running length is going to be 1.7. So I'm going to put this length 1.7. There we go. But here my angle is, if you look at that angle, total angle is 20.02. So my draft angle is going to be 10.01, half of that. So I'm going to just go and put this angle here, 10.01, my draft angle, and it's going to be to the defined side. Sorry. And this is going to be minus 10.01. There we go. That's your draft surface. That is your draft surface. Hit OK. So if you look at from the right side view, guys, this is what you see on your geometry right here. This is what you see over here. You see this curve right here, and this is the draft surface right here with overall 20.02, 10.01 degrees your draft angle. That's what you see here. Undo it. Let's do it one more time. But now I am in construction plane right. If you're in construction plane right, you try to create a draft surface. Look at this. Draft surface is your plane dependent, and watch the results. It's going to be towards you. Look at that. That is not right. So you change the plane, it will change the draft surface. I'm going to change to top plane. Look at this, how it changes. So plane is plane dependent. If you go to front plane, look at this, it's going to go towards the front plane right there. Look at that. So it's totally different. So you have to be in the top plane. And we have length 1.7 and we have angle minus 10.01, which is, you see this in the blueprint, length 1.7 and angle is, total angle is 20.02. So divided by 2 is 10.01. And hit OK. Hit escape key. And we're done. Now I want to get rid of this extra part because this has no meaning. All I need the top part, not the bottom. We don't need this. So we're going to trim this to a curve. Now when I'm going to trim this here, so you have to look again. Trim to a curve is also a plane dependent. So you have to be in construction plane top. You cannot trim that because your surface is over here and your curve is over here. If you look at the front plane, same thing. Your curve surface is over here and curve is right here. But if you look at the plane right, that's where you can trim. You can trim this surface to that curve. So you have to be in construction plane right. Excuse me. So I'm going to trim this surface to this curve. I'm going to keep the top part. I'm going to get rid of the bottom part. But again, the plane has to be right. You are in construction plane right. That's very important, guys. When you trim to a curve. So here comes my trim option. This time not trim to a surface, because there's no surface. There's a surface and a curve. So I'm going to say trim to curve. So it says select the surface and press enter. This is my surface and enter. And it says select the curve. And I have a single curve, no chain. You can pick chain, that's not problem. You can pick this as my chain, right? That's okay. And say end chain. And I'm still in the right plane. And hit OK. Now it's going to ask you indicate the area to keep by selecting the surface to be trimmed. I want to trim this surface, and it says slide the arrow to location to keep after trimming. And I want to get rid of this. I want to keep this, and that will be trimmed right there. Look at that. That surface is trimmed, and hit OK. One more time. Undo it. We are in construction plane right because if you look from the right plane, like I always been saying, that your vision plays a big role. Now you can see your eyes that this is been trimmed by this curve. Just like your scissor. You want to cut something, so you have to be normal to that to cut it, not parallel to that. If it's intersecting, then you can trim it. Looking from the top view, this curve is not intersecting this surface, they're far apart. Looking at the front view, this curve is not intersecting this surface, they're far apart. But if you look at the right side plane, now you can say this curve is intersecting this. So your vision plays a big role. So that plane has to be your right plane. And then I can say surface, trim, trim to curves. It's going to ask you to select the surface. This is my surface. Press enter. To select one or more curves. This is my curve. Hit OK. It says indicate the area to keep after selecting a surface to be trimmed. Let's say if I say I want to trim this surface and I want to keep this side, you will get rid of the top one. So you have to select the surface you want to keep after trimming. Undo it. We are in construction plane right. That's good. I'm going to go ahead and trim curves too. I want this surface, enter. And this is my curve. Hit OK. I want to trim this surface and I want to keep the top part right here. Click here. And there we go. Apply, hit OK. Hit the escape key. So we got that. Now, if you look at the blueprint, it says ½ inch drilled through. This ½ inch circle is a through hole. It's a through hole. So looking from the top view, this is a through hole. So now we have to trim this surface also. To make a hole, we have to trim the surface to this curve. Now same thing. We're going to use this trim surface to curve. But again, the plane. Your eyes plays a big role here. If you look at here, the surface can only be trimmed if they intersect with this. So it is the top plane. If you look from the front plane, no, they don't trim. The curve is here, the surface is over here. If you look from the right plane, no, the surface is here and the curve is over here. It has to be in the top plane right there. So I'm going to using the same option, but this time I'm in construction plane top because I want to trim this curve to make a hole to this curve. So go to trim to curve. I want to trim this surface. Press surface, enter to continue. Select one or more curve. This is my curve. Hit end chain. OK. Indicate the area I want to trim this surface and I want to keep this surface right there. This side or this side, any side. Don't select this, otherwise you're going to keep this and you're going to get rid of that. So I want to keep this side. Select right here and it's going to trim that. There's a hole right there in that surface. You can see that hole. Hit OK. Hit the escape key. And there it is. One more time, undo it. Construction plane top. I want to trim that to a curve, but make sure you are in construction plane top. Trim to a curve, select that surface, end selection, enter. This is my curve. Okay, hit OK. Now if I will say I want to trim this surface, I want to keep this guy over here, you will get rid of the other surface, guys. That's not right, because I select I want to keep this after trimming. Look at that. It just kept that part right there. So that is not good. So it's very important which side you want to keep. You have to select that. Hit the escape key, hit undo it. Let's do it again. Trim to curves, select surface to be trimmed, press enter. This is going to be surface, enter, and this is my curve. Select one or more curve. I'm going to select this curve and chain, hit OK. Indicate the area to keep. I want to trim this, keep this side. That's my hole right there. That's good. And now I want to make it's a through hole, but I can create a surface over here on the hole. So I'm still in the construction plane top, and I can go ahead and create a draft surface on that hole, this hole right there. So go to draft surface, select an arc or line. This is my arc, and chain, hit OK. And I want to draft angle down there, but this time it's going to be my angle is 0 degree. It's going to be straight hole, but the length is still 1.7, because if you see here on the blueprint, that length is 1.7 right there. So I'm just making a surface right there on this hole, but that is 1.7. All right. So that's what we did. We just create this. Length is 1.7 and angle is 0. So I have that surface, hit OK. So that is my through hole right there. Now I can create a surface over here between this circle and this circle. We have to fill up this area. And that surface is going to be my flat boundary. It says select chain to define the boundary. This is going to be always your outside boundary 1, chain 2. If you don't pick chain 2, you hit end chain and hit OK. It will close the top. But I want to keep the hole. I want to keep the hole, so undo it. Flat boundary. Pick chain 1 and chain 2. This is my chain 2. And chain, hit OK. There is that. Hit OK. There we are. Okay. So that pretty much finishes the surface part. But I want to close this side right here, and I want to close this side here, and I want to close this side over here. So we have to join a line here. So we can go to 3D now. To join these guys, we have to go to 3D here. Click on 3D because the point over here, X and Y, is going to be different for this S and Y. So they're all in different plane. So in that case, we're going to go 3D, and we can just go ahead and wireframe, create line. That's my freeform line. So I can join from there to here. Then I can join this guy to here. And I can join back over here too, right there. So once I have this line, I can go ahead and use my close boundary surface, and I can close those ends. So go to flat boundary, and we can pick a chain in this case. So select that chain, apply, hit OK. And we are in the same command. Select a chain, hit OK. Pick this as a chain, apply, hit OK. That's good. And do this same thing over here. Pick a chain there. Hit OK. Hit the escape key on your keyboard. And now if I want to close the bottom, I can do the flat boundary on the bottom. But on the bottom, guys, we have on this edge, this is surface. We don't have any geometry on this edge. We have only geometry right here on this edge. We have geometry on this edge. We have geometry on this edge, but there's no geometry on this surface, on this edge, and this edge, and this edge here either. So to create a surface flat boundary, you have to have a geometry, closed geometry, a chain. So once we have a surface and we don't have a curve or we don't have any geometry, we can create one. If you have a surface with an edge, we can create one. So if you go to wireframe and you say curve on one edge or curve on all edges, you can create curves on all edges of the surface, solid body. So if you're going to say curve on all edges, it says select a solid face or surface. If I'm going to select the surface right there and hit end selection, look at this, it's creating a curve on all the surfaces right here. That's right there. Hit OK. And you can see it. There is a curve right here. It created a geometry. But I don't need this curve over here. I don't need that. And I have a duplicate over here. Undo it. So we already have a curve. All I need a curve on this. So curve on one edge. Here you control that. You just want to go on one edge. Just a curve on one edge. So on one edge, you can control that which side or which edge you want to do rather than on all the surface. So curve all edges means it will do on all the surface. But if you say curve on one edge, you click that, it says select a surface. I select the surface, then you're going to see an arrow stuck on your cursor, and here it says move arrow to the desired edge. So you can move your arrow that you want a edge on, you want a curve on this edge, it's stuck on that edge, you cannot move further out. Or you can go and say I want curve on this edge. So let's say stick on that edge, click it, you will see a curve right there. There we go. Hit OK. Now you're still in the same command. Click the same surface again. Now move your cursor to this edge right here and click OK. Click it right there. There's a curve on that. So you can control the curve on each edge you want rather than creating a curve on all the edges. Because we don't need a curve here. We don't need a curve here. It's already have it. We don't need a curve here. We already have it. So hit OK. And I'm still in the same command. I'm going to click this surface, and my arrow, it says move arrow to the desired edge. Read this over here, guys. Move the arrow to desired edge. You want to do on this edge or you want to do on this edge? Doesn't matter. Let's do on this one first. Click it. There's my curve. Move your geometry a little bit. Click this again and create right there. Move this here again. Click this curve over here, right there. So that's how you control that curve on one edge rather than all the edges. And hit OK. So once you have that, you can do you can create a surface. And we can create a flat boundary. I'm just wondering if it's joined over here. Yeah, that's good. Okay. All right. So once we got those edges, once we got those curves on the edges, we can create a flat boundary on the bottom and we can close the surface. All right. So there comes my surfaces, flat boundary. Okay, guys, again, one more time. This is under wireframe. That's your curve one edge. You're going to use this and create a curves on each of these surfaces. Surface flat boundary. You're going to pick a chain. It's going to start from here. Go direct your chain. I want to go in this direction, then in this direction, then in this direction, in that direction, and it closed, and then this direction is going to close right there. Perfect. Hit end chain and hit OK. Hit OK. Hit the escape key. And there's your surface on the bottom. And that completes that drawing. So I can just go ahead and change the surfaces into different level. Right click, click surfaces, and change the surfaces level. I'll say use level 2, and that's going to be my surfaces. Okay, go to level, turn level 1 off, level 2 on, and you're going to see your surfaces right there. Isometric. All right, so that finishes your drawing. Any questions, guys, so far? Okay, what I want you guys to do, and it's not on the print, you can make a note. I want you to create a fillet between this surface and this surface. I want to create a fillet here, and same thing, I want to create a little fillet between this surface and that surface right here. So let's do that. Let's create about 100,000 fillet over here and 250,000 fillets between these two. So we're going to add that. It's not in the print, but I want you guys to do that. I want you to practice adding a fillet. So here comes my surface, fillet to surface. It's just like the first set of surface, press enter. Here's my first set, hit enter. This is my second set, hit enter, and there is my fillet. And that fillet radius, I can put 250,000 fillet over here, or I can go 150,000 fillet over here, doesn't matter, or I can go even 200,000 fillet radius, 200,000. So it doesn't matter, but make sure you put a fillets right here. All right, so we're going to have a 200,000 fillet between this surface and this surface. Hit OK. I did not trim the surface. If you want to trim, make sure you use the trim option. So it's going to trim the surface inside. Okay, now I want to create a fillet between, so we are still in the same command. Select first set of surface. This is my first set. Enter. This is my second set. Enter. It said no fillets found because this radius is way too much. We can make a smaller radius, and if it still doesn't work, then we're going to go ahead and work with the normal. So pick that and select the first set. This is my, oh, okay, I can see something over there, guys. Something is not right. There is a fillet. When I changed to 50,000, we saw a fillet inside, but it was not trimmed. So that's what happened. You see a fillet right here. Look at that right underneath. This is a fillet right there. I can see the fillet. If I'm going to say undo it, that fillet will be gone right there. Watch here. Undo it. That fillet is gone. So there was a fillet. Okay. Let's do it one more time. We're going to go fillet surface to surface. First set, enter. Second set, enter. And you see there's a fillet right there. But you say trim surface, then it's going to trim that, and you see the fillet, 50,000 fillet. If you say no trim, then I can see the fillet inside, but it's not trimming the surface. Look at this. There is a fillet. You can see that curve of the fillet on both surfaces. But you say trim it, it will trim the surface. That's it. That's good. Hit the escape key, and that finishes that drawing. So you have to create 200,000 fillet here. You have to create 50,000 fillet here, guys. Keep that in mind. Make a note. You have to have fillets here. I want you to practice the fillets. So go to isometric, and that finishes your project. That is number 11 project. This guy. I'll go ahead and pause the recording.
Recording stopped.
So that finishes your project number 11. And then we're going to go ahead. We'll move on to project number 12 here. So let's take a quick break here, guys, about 5-10 minutes. I'll come back and we're going to move on to project number 12. So I'll be right back with you guys. Just stay tuned. So we have this 3D wireframe right here, and we're going to create a geometry, and my geometry starts from the origin. It starts with this line right here. It's going to go this line, and there's another line, make a fillet, another line, make a fillet, and go another line right there. So that's going to be my geometry. And then we're going to talk about a new surface over here, how we can create the surface, follow this geometry. So I'll go ahead and create this geometry on a top plane, and this line 3.5 inches line right here, this is not a part of geometry. This is going to be my axis of rotation, so I'm going to use a revolved surface on this. This is my geometry right here, the one you see in yellow. So I'll go ahead and go with construction plane top. I'll say file, new. I'm not going to save it. Don't save it. And make sure my colors are green. And we have to turn on our
Recording in progress.
Here we go. So like I said, we're going to start with the construction plane top. And create this geometry. We're going to start with this line here. We're going to create 1 inch line first. Then at the end point, we're going to create a line at angle 45 degrees. Then we can create a horizontal line, vertical line here, sorry. And then we're going to create this line over here, starting at 2.5 x y0, and that angle line is going to be 65-degree angle. Okay, so let's start from the origin, create that 1 inch line first on the construction plane top. So we are on construction plane top in 2D. I'll go to wireframe line, and that line starts from origin, and the length of the line is 1 inch. Now I'm going to create this line at the endpoint angle 45 degrees. So create a line. We are still in the same option, line option, same command, and that's my line right there. So this angle is going to be 180 degree minus 45. So you can put here angle 180 minus 45 degree, 135 degrees. And now I can just go ahead and create this line right here, vertical line, and it's going to be off by 0.5. So go to vertical line and put a vertical line over here. Length doesn't matter, but that distance here is 0.5. That is 0.5 distance. Hit OK. And now I'm going to create intersection. There's a horizontal line right here at 1.25, so that's where I can create this line at 25 degrees. So there is a horizontal line right there at y offset 1.25. So create line horizontal now. And this is going to be 1.25. 1.25. Okay. And now we have this line over here. That line is intersection of vertical and horizontal line, which is 25 degrees. So go freeform line from that intersection up to here. Length doesn't matter. And this angle here is 25 degrees. Hit OK. Now the last line you see here starts from here at x 2.5, y 0, and goes this angle 65 degrees. So x 2.5 is going to be my freeform line. So you can put here auto cursor, put x 2.25, no 2.5. Let's check. 2.5. So x is 2.5 comma y0. Enter. That line starts right here and go up to here. Click anywhere. So this angle here is, how much is that angle? 65 degrees. So I'll put here angle 180 minus 65 degrees. That's 115 degree angle. Perfect. Hit OK. Now I can make this 3.5 inches line here. That could be a dashed line, center line, solid line, phantom line, broken line, doesn't matter. We can just go ahead and we need that 3.5 vertical line right here. So go to freeform line and starts from here and go vertical straight here at 0 degree, and that is your length 3.5. There we go. This length doesn't matter. Why we have that line? So we can create a line from here and we can trim that line at that line. That's what it is. So I'm going to create a horizontal line from this endpoint to here so I can trim it. That's the only reason we have that length. So now I can trim that, go to delete, divide this guy and this guy right there. Here we go. And I don't need this line anymore, so we can just get rid of that line. Hit OK. Now there is a fillet and there is a fillet and there is a fillet. Let's see the size. So if you look at here, it says radius 252 places. So this is 250, this is 250, and this is half an inch. So this is half an inch fillet, this is 250 fillet, and this is also over here 250 fillet. So let's do that. Go to fillet, radius 0.5. That's this, and I want to trim it. Hit apply, OK, and then radius 0.250 is this and that and this and that. There we are. Hit OK and hit OK. We don't need this line anymore. We can delete them. Go to isometric, and that finishes your geometry. Look at the top view, and that looks like something like this, what we see here. So that's your 3D wireframe, and we can create a surface out of this. Okay, to create a surface, here comes my revolved surface. So revolved surface is a surface we use for a round part, like a circular part with any shape, which revolves around the axis. The shape doesn't matter, but it's going to be revolving around the axis. It's called a revolved surface. So we can revolve the surface about the axis. Hold on one second, guys. I'm going to go ahead and pause this for a second.
Recording stopped.
Give me 1 second.
Recording in progress.
Okay. So surface revolve creates a surface from a profile that is spun around the axis. It has to revolve around the axis. You have to have an axis. The length doesn't matter. We have that length 3.5 inches just to intersect, trim this to 3.5 inches. That's why. You can have even a small line of axis. So let's go to surfaces, revolve. It's going to ask you select the profile curve. So we have to select the profile, a chain. If you're going to say chain, you're going to select all this. That's not good. I do not want to select this axis. We don't need this to select the axis. We have to just select the profile. So unselect that. So you have to select partial chain. And it says select profile curve. Select the first entity. You're going to start from here and your arrow going in this direction. And the last entity, this is my last entity. So this is going to be the shape of this revolved surface. That's your chain. So hit OK and hit OK. Now it's going to say select the axis of rotation. So you have to pick an axis that's going to revolve around, and this is your axis of rotation, always the center line. And there creates that surface. Look at that. That's your wine glass right there. You can start from 0. One we're going to create is going to go 180 degrees. You can go direction 1 and direction 2. That's it. Look at that. 0, direction 1. You can do. So this is going to be the part we're going to create a toolpath in your next class, 177 class. And we're going to machine this part. We're going to create a toolpath, 3D toolpath, and we will machine that in your next 177 class. So you can go, you can create a mold. You can go cut a male, and you're going to cut a female both to make a mold. Or you can go from 0 to 360. But I want up to 180 degrees, and make sure you create this and this both. And hit OK. One more time. So like you mentioned that the axis doesn't matter. If I'm going to go ahead and delete this, and I can just create a wireframe. I can create a line endpoint, a vertical line anywhere, even here or here, but it has to be at 0 axis, right on the y-axis. So make sure you should be 0. Put that 0 here, enter, and hit OK. Now you can go to surface and say revolve surface. Now you can pick a chain.
I found this on the web for wall surface. Check it out.
Oh my God. 3D wall surface, I don't need this. Okay. So pick a chain, and this is my chain. And this is my axis of rotation. It could be here, it could be here, it could be here, doesn't matter. But it has to be on the y-axis. I'll show you if you look at here axis right now, this is right here, my line is on the y-axis. If it's not on the y-axis, it's going to be off. I'll show you what's going to happen. So here, and I done OK chain. It says select axis of rotation. This is my axis of rotation. Sometimes you don't see it. You can just turn your axis off. This is my axis of rotation right there. It's revolving around the axis. That's called your revolve. Look at this, how it's revolving around the axis. Again, you can control your start point from 0 to 180. And you can change the directions, 1 or direction 2, doesn't matter. And hit direction 2, hit OK. So talking about axis, go undo it. Go to the top plane. talking about axis, if I'm going to delete this axis, I'm going to create another axis. Let's say wireframe line vertical, and my axis is not at the origin, it's away from the origin like this. Hit OK. So there's my axis, but look at this, my axis is off. Axis of rotation is off from the y-axis, not at 0. So in that case, what's going to happen? Watch your surface, go to revolve. You can pick the chain because it's not touching. So pick this chain, apply, hit OK. Select axis of rotation. This is my axis of rotation. In that case, what happens? You're going to have a hole in the bottom because your axis is not on the center. Look at that. There's a hole because your axis is off. So it has to be on the y-axis if that's the case. Look at that. There's a hole on the bottom then. Here you go. Because it's going to revolve around that axis. So that axis was off 100,000 or 50,000 from the origin. So be careful with that. Go ahead and undo it. Go to the top plane. I'm going to delete this axis and create another one from the origin. The surface line endpoint is right from the origin to down here, or down here, doesn't matter, guys. It's from here. But don't touch it over here because then we're going to have to create. I'll just go stay right there and make sure your axis offset is 0 over here. There you go. Surface, revolve, pick a chain. This is my chain. Hit OK. Hit OK. Axis of rotation. This is your axis of rotation. Hit OK. That is my part. Undo it. Last time. One more time. Surface, revolve. Pick this your chain. Hit OK. Axis of rotation is this. Now I'm going to go direction 1, 0 to 180 degrees. Or I can go direction 2 and hit OK. So this is going to be your project number 12. I can move my surface, right click, change level to level 2 and name the surface. Okay. Look level, turn level 1 off, and you see your surfaces right there. So this is your project number 12. And like I said, guys, this is going to be the part we will be creating a tool path, and we will be setting up the machine Moriseki, and we're going to run that in your next class, which is 177. So make sure you guys take that class, 177. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording. Pause that recording for a second.
Recording stopped.